Okay, so here we go. We were just chit-chatting as I was turning all my recording devices, and you asked if, the most recent show that just got posted was that one we did of whatever it was, health and fitness can be yours for $150,000 a
Yeah,
year. And you said, "Hey,
the low
any
price.
bites on that?"
Well, and
I
keep in
re
mind, people, we're running a 50% off special. This could be yours for
Yes,
75 grand. It's a steal.
holiday special. We did I just did get an email back from the individual who asked that question, just loved
Mm.
the show, was ranting and raving about it, and was like, "Hey, if you guys need a, you know, like an angel investor to start that $100,000 boutique shop, you let me know, I'm all in."
Really?
I was like,
Wow.
"Awesome, awesome, we're in."
Oh, it's great. Okay.
Related to that, what's funny is, people aren't familiar with the show, first of all, how dare you, go watch the show.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I caught up today with Spiel on the phone. I haven't talked to him. Life got busy. I don't think I've talked to Chris. I mean, maybe it's been like a year. It's been a long
Yeah.
time. And I just, he just has a physical gym out there in Park City, Utah. And so I just kind of asked him, like, hey, what's going on there? Boots on the ground of running a physical gym these days. And the thing that he mentioned, he, was unfamiliar with the show that we just did. He's like, man, he's like, everybody who walks in these days is looking for like some boutique, high end luxury fitness experience, or they are requesting that I run all these absolutely unnecessary tests on them when all they need to do is like eat better and do some like resistance training. He's like,
Can
people are
I?
asking me, are you gonna test my VO2 max? Do you have one of those scanners
Right.
here? He's like, no, no, we're not
How
gonna
many,
do any of that actually.
how many machines can you hook me up before I actually do anything physical in the gym? But yeah, dude, I actually had a great opportunity to catch up with Chris at the Rogue Invitational in Scotland, and
Okay,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
great, man. I probably spent more time with him than almost anybody else, and it was great. Same thing. I hadn't talked to him on that level in quite a long time, so it was nice to catch up. But yeah, man, it's funny. He seems like he can't escape that sort of thing because I mean, you
Oh,
and I have both known Chris for years, and living in Park City, he used to work
Park
with.
City. There's some affluent folks out
Well,
there.
yeah, and he used to work with a lot of avid mountain bikers, and that was always the story he told was people would come in, they'd ask him how they could shave a few more ounces off their mountain bike, and he's looking at this individual and saying, "You know what? Probably be an easier route is if you drop 10 pounds." I'd
Right.
probably
Instead
be,
of taking
but
7 ounces off your
yeah,
mountain bike.
yeah, and you sir could probably use it. So just for
He
what that's
said
worth. Anyway,
he's like, "That
funny
is
guy.
just all the rage these
Yeah.
days," He's like, "Nobody just wants to eat well and, cycle hang squat cleans."
Yeah. Yep. A little bit
I
harder
mean,
than getting hooked up to that machine. I'll tell you what to do.
hang 400-meter repeats. I was kinda hoping you could say I could lay on a red light therapy mat
Yeah.
back in the spa and everything would
Well,
just kinda, move into place.
not to reveal my own personal thoughts on too much, but I'll say I think we're faster approaching that time when people believe that, well, can I just like enter that into the AI and it'll it'll tell me
Mhm.
it'll tell me something super insightful and that'll do the work for me.
So I
Is it-
thought that was
So
funny, just catching up with him, especially based upon our recent show. Um, you've been traveling a bunch. Have you been able to maintain any fitness, or is it just you're in survival mode?
I tell you, Pat, in my infinite wisdom, I flew out early on this week on Tuesday morning. I had a morning flight, and it was also the 11th. So Veterans Day or Remembrance Day, depending on where you are in the world. And so, as is my custom, I did Chad, and I was committed to
Mm,
getting up and doing it before my flight, which is super advisable to do
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
thousand.
Snuggle into an economy seat after that.
Yeah, exactly. So I did that and got up, got it done in the garage. Did what the kids would call fasted cardio, I suppose, because I just went up. Meaning I just woke up and did it,
Right. Exactly.
and then and then got on the plane. So I'm definitely feeling the after effects of that now, more so than I thought I had kind of gotten away with it, but turns out it did not. And then the next day, we went and dropped in at a local affiliate, a 6 a.m. class with
Mm.
our crew that was there, which was a lot of fun. And they had Gretel on the docket. So
Is
10
that the
rounds
snatches or clean and
clean and
jerks?
jerks, 10 rounds for time,
Okay.
3 clean and jerks, 3 burpees. So it's a fun one. I mean, it's
How
like
long did that take you? Do you remember?
I was like 7 minutes and change. I
Oh,
was I
okay.
was super slow. Like that was yeah.
I mean, that's gonna get it done, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it was for the day and for what it was the right effort. I'm not turning any heads with that time, though, but yeah.
You know what's funny is, anyone who's followed this, and you certainly know this, but like, no one, my overhead position is just dog mess. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
just weak and all that. And for about the last 3 or 4 weeks, for whatever reason, I've just decided, like, probably 3 or 4 times a week, I just add into my warm up. I've done 3 sets of 10 overhead squat with an empty
Mm,
barbell, 3 or 4 times a week. That's it. No intensity, no nothing, just wherever it fits in. And, shocker, it started to feel better and better and better. Round 1 always feels horrible, but by the end of round 3, it feels pretty good. And so on Monday, the workout was every minute on the minute for 30 minutes, one hang power snatch. And that is a workout that traditionally I would choose the dumbbell option because it's just easier
mm.
than I can't hold the barbell with any appreciable load over my head. But I was like, you know what? Let's just see how things feel. And so this is laughable weight for so many CrossFitters, but it was a huge victory for me. Warmed up, felt good, and I did that workout start to finish with 135 pounds
Oh, nice.
on the barbell
Yeah,
from not having had 135 over my head in, I mean, years, actually.
yeah.
Like, and that it was just there
Wow.
for 30 reps on the minute, didn't have a single miss, and
Yep.
felt really strong from just working an empty barbell over and over again. So that was pretty cool. Again, laughable numbers for a lot of people, but for me, I felt like I was like, Pyros Demus at the Olympics, like just crushing it.
Yeah, for sure, man, especially, I mean, you're certifiably, ancient at this point too, Pat, so that's gotta that's gotta
Firing up
add
that
into
toy
it.
hip, getting some explosive power going on there.
That's right.
And then you want to talk about a blast from the past. I don't know when the last time you've done this is. That was Monday. On Tuesday, it had been like 2 years since I programmed this, but it blew the dust off it. Tabata this.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's a classic. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh
rough.
man.
Yep.
I mean, again, everybody sees heavy weight coming every now you're gonna do this simple body weight interval workout. Man, that thing just burnt my biscuits from head to toe,
A
dude.
good
It
one.
was
Yeah.
a
That I'll tell you,
scorcher.
that is still one of my all-time go-to hotel workouts in a pinch, is just alternating Tabata squats and push-ups.
Oh,
So one
sure.
round of squats, one round of push-ups, repeat. You can do the 8-rounder if you like. You can extend it out if you're feeling froggy. I mean, dude, you can even truncate it back if you're not feeling that froggy. It's one of my all-time faves. But yeah, a straight Tabata this, I have not done in quite some time, but that's a fun one.
And it's funny, you can have this great bench press and all of a sudden just get humbled by push-ups. I mean,
Totally, yeah.
good,
Yep,
honest, like full range of motion push-ups are so
yeah,
demanding, and man, they go away so quick in
yep.
that Tabata workout. But yeah, so that was cool. Um, oh, let me do the housekeeping here real quick. So, hey, appreciate you, everybody. Want to help keep supporting the show? Go to verynnotrandom.com. Check out all the cycles that we offer to basically turn you into a fitness superhero, whatever you want. Get your strict pull-ups, get some handstand walking. There's some barbell stuff. There's some conditioning. It's like you said with the AI. You just download this thing and suddenly you're amazing. So check that out. And it might take more time than that, but that's the general scope of it. And then if you are a gym owner, all the stuff that gym owners need to do, workout tracking, gym management, billing, BTWB has an all-in-one solution for that. So you don't have to like hodgepodge these different pieces of software together. So if you are a gym owner interested in the all-in-one, go to btwb.com. Okay, so the thing that I had for you today was basically about um, goal times because of this question has come up in various forms in the past of like um, some people put a whole lot of stock in a goal time, and this
Yep.
goal time is critical to me receiving the intended stimulus. Other people couldn't care less about it, or it's a distraction, or hey, it wasn't around 20 years ago, you don't need it. And I was doing some research for something, and I came across just a great old Greg Glassman quote from a CrossFit Journal article that he didn't mention goal times, but what he said I thought was like people would benefit from hearing this today. So kind of laid some context. Let me tell you what Greg had to say here, and then I think people would be like, "Wow, that doesn't make any sense." This is from the workout entitled, excuse me, the article entitled "Benchmark Workouts," which was from issue 13 from September 2003. and he's discussing some of the girl workouts, Angie, Barbara, Chelsea, Elizabeth, Diane, Fran, things like that. And when talking about those barbell varieties, Diane, Elizabeth, and Fran, he, kind of breaks them down a bit. And then he says, here's it. Okay. This one says pacing, strategy, and capacity. It's just two nice little paragraphs. It says nearly everyone will have to chop up either the weightlifting exercises or the calisthenic exercises into manageable subsets. If you can blast through without stopping, these workouts take about 4 minutes apiece. If you're less than a weightlifting gymnast with the lungs of a porpoise, and then your times will reflect as much. With that in mind, here we go. There's no shame in taking 60 minutes to polish off one of these workouts. If the loads are in excess of your capacity for even a few reps, then you'll have no choice but to amend the workout with lighter loads. But if you can manage threes, then you're going to do 7 by 3s to get to the 21, 5 by 3s to get to the 15, and 3 by 3s to get to the 9s. So basically saying, hey, if you can't do it, you've got no choice to scale. But if you can move the load even a little bit, okay, Elizabeth took
Yep.
you 60 minutes. But there's probably not too many trainers in the world who you're like, hey, I want to do Elizabeth for the class and it's going to take me 60 minutes. Is that cool? They're like, no, that's not cool at all.
Yeah.
You're totally missing the point.
Right. Yeah, it is funny. I think a lot of that is kind of an artifice of fitting everything into this class
Mm-hmm.
style format, which, I get it. There is a reality there when you've got a group of different abilities. You can't have something that is so disparate. Like, I think that extreme example of 4 minutes on one end and 60 on the other. If you've got a group of 10 people in front of you, it's not really reasonable to have that kind of, separation. Because what do you do with people when they finish that early? How do you keep that other person warmed up and ready to go, knowing that it's going to
Mm-hmm.
take them an hour? I mean, there's just some logistical challenges that you got to overcome. Now, that being said, I think we've talked about this a lot in the past where people go a little overboard with this whole quote intended stimulus idea. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a goal time and blowing way past that due to miscalculation or
Right.
it's just not what you have. I mean, hey, great example. I was telling you I did Gretel. In my mind, I was like, oh yeah, I should be a sub 5 effort. I should be able to do that. It did not happen that day, not even close.
Right.
And yet, it was still a great workout for the day and totally appropriate to drive my fitness forward based on where I am in that moment. And so, it's funny because to me, it speaks to this broader need for people to always have done quote unquote the right thing and try to
Mhm.
assign with certainty what that right thing is. And it's like, at the end of the day, your ability to discern and then accurately assess like, well, this was the right way to execute this is probably flawed. No matter what your assessment is and how good it is, it probably doesn't matter that much if your strike zone was a little bit off or broader than you thought it should have been. Um,
Yeah, I think you're right. Who knows for sure, but I think you're right that the goal time, I don't know if phenomenon is the right word for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was directly linked to the fact that if you're running a class and it's
yep.
some sort of a business and things are happening in the hour, like on top of fitness, time management and schedule management becomes of critical importance
Yeah,
to you keeping the lights on,
for
like
sure.
one way, shape,
Yep.
or form. But also, I think where we are today, if that's a fair thing to say, is a lot of people see a 21:59 workout, and maybe they've just seen a lot of things on social media, or their favorite people blasting through things, and they think this has to be a
Yeah.
blast through it workout. I have to choose a load that I'm going to be fast and unbroken. Okay, Greg wrote this article in 2003. I'm not going to break the first set of 21 into 7 sets of 3. What are you, crazy? Like, how long that's going to take me? That's wildly different. I'm just going to lower it down, and that's what I need to do to execute the workout. I think there's also been a lot of pressure to just be fast and unbroken on a lot of things that don't necessarily need to be fast and unbroken to get you really fit, quite frankly.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, said another way, if you take that same workout and you aren't able to do it fast and unbroken, but you can get through the load like he's describing, you're just
Mhm.
working on a different attribute at that point, and that's okay. There'll be plenty of time to hit that short, light for you and unbroken style training. There'll be plenty of other opportunities for that too. So, there's no real reason to get too frantic about your assessment there. Now, that said, I'll take the other end of it too and say that if you are somebody who's, been doing this stuff for a while, particularly if you're a coach or an affiliate owner or a trainer, yeah, your ability to make a basic assessment on a rep scheme and a loading pattern, et cetera, and have kind of a best fit for like, okay, I should be accounting 20 minutes for this effort, broadly speaking, so that
Mhm.
I can fit it into my logistics plan. That's a skill that is invaluable, and you should absolutely be super comfortable doing that. But that's different than then taking that time that you've estimated and thinking that there's some sort of value judgment if somebody's a little north or south of that. That's a different thing altogether, in my opinion.
I also think that there can be more than one way to get to the finish line, right?
Sure.
So what Greg's describing in that article, as the days, weeks, and months pass, will you get fitter and faster and stronger at those efforts? Even you have to break them up to an obnoxious point that it takes you an hour, and then 2 months later it took you 45 minutes, and then later
Right.
on it took you 30. Yeah, you will. And then will you probably also get fitter, faster, and stronger? Not going all the way to the extreme that suddenly the first time you do Fran, it has to be unbroken, but you're going to choose a load where your thrusters are a 10, a 6, and a 5
Yeah.
instead of 7 sets of 3. Yeah, that's gonna. I think there's more than one way to get to that finish line, but I think the one that Greg's describing in this article, maybe it's just the nostalgia, but it just put such a big smile on my face because it's just that old school, like, yeah, it's really heavy and you're gonna be here a while, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
okay, and just do the work. Like,
Yeah.
this is the workout for today. Can you do it? No, no, I can't do it. 225 deadlift. Okay, let's do a lighter load. Yeah,
Sure.
I can, but it's gonna take me a while. Okay, I'll be here if you need me.
Yep.
Like, that's gonna work,
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of not in the popular culture anymore, and it just put a big smile on my face reading it again.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like I think you're really good about taking the broad picture when you're thinking about programming. And you've talked a lot about your programming process and how involved it is. And like every time you describe that, it really puts me in this place where I'm reminded to think like, hey, you don't just have this one shot today to
Right,
to,
right,
like
right.
nail it all. And if that were the case, I mean, man, none of us would be any fitter because you missed the mark quite a bit as far as like what we're talking about. Your accuracy is not that pinpoint, nor does it need to be, because you do have this broader context of workouts that you're doing. And so, yeah, you're going to experience that workout that it doesn't stop you cold, but man, you're taking a lot of breaks. There's plenty of other opportunity if your program is well-rounded
Eh,
where that's not the case and you don't
there you
have to stop
go.
and you don't have to worry about it. And so if it's every single effort that you're finding yourself,
Is every day a
that's
slog?
right. Yeah. And it's like, hey, I estimated 7 minutes. Turns out it was 45. If that's a daily
Right.
experience, okay, now we've probably got something that we need to take a little bit of a look and figure out what's going on here, because that's not really reflective of what should be happening broadly. But if you have an effort every once in a while in the mix that just happens to be like, man, today this one got my number and everybody else was finished and I was like 10 minutes behind the pack, so be it. That's
Right.
not a bad outcome necessarily.
Because if you're doing classic CrossFit programming, there should be some days that you show up and
Exactly.
you're the hero, and
Yes.
other days
Yep.
you show up and you are, the gum on the bottom of somebody's shoe.
Yep.
I mean, look at the last. So I mentioned here's the last 3 days that I did. You want to talk about some variants? I mentioned that EMOM 30 minutes of the hang power snatch. That was Monday. Tuesday was Tabata this, and then yesterday, Wednesday was a 10K run. I mean, so one day the weightlifter's happy, the other day the body weights guy, this guy, we're thank goodness we're running because I got smashed by the hang power snatches. And you're
Yep.
like, but if every day is, guess what we're doing? It's another heavy Olympic lift. You're like, oh my good. Or if every day is another run, well
Sure.
then you're getting into something different. But I can't speak for how you started, and I'm curious to hear how it was. But what Greg is describing in this article, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt it works because
Yeah.
myself and all of my knucklehead friends back in 2005 in my garage, this is exactly what we did. We just,
Mhm.
what was the workout of the day? Okay, it's Elizabeth. We're gonna power clean 135, and we are going to do singles. And they're going to be really ugly, horrible early arm pull, lots of reps between each singles, and these ring dips are the spawn of Satan. And Elizabeth took us an absolute eternity. And Diane took
Right.
us an absolute eternity and whatnot. And little by little, through struggle, the cleans got faster, the weight felt better, and the deads got whatever it was like in those 7 sets of 3 turned into a 10-6-5, which turned into a
Sure.
15 and a 6, and turned into, dude, I got the 21 unbroken today. Like it took a while, but like that works.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, I do think that there is room for refinement in that. And like,
Sure.
again, that there, I think at this stage, people should have a pretty decent ballpark of what's going to be reasonable. And so maybe that's kind of at the heart of it is like you say all the time that fitness is pretty easy, but people are tough. I
Yes,
think
sir.
that's maybe the more deeper implication here is that psychologically, it can be hard on an individual if you're like, okay, Pat, this workout should take you 10 minutes and it takes them 27. It's
Mhm.
now a
They
hard
feel
sell.
defeated.
Yeah, it's a hard sell for me to come back and say, well, actually, Pat, that was great and that's exactly what should have happened.
Right,
Now
right.
that's pretty hard for you to take that. But if I give you a ballpark and I don't have that much invested in it, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a tough effort for you today. We're going to see, I think you're capable of a time that's around 15 minutes or whatever, but we'll see. You never know
Mhm.
until you're in it because some combinations just get your number. And you take the pressure off, like, well, you have to finish within this 15 to 17-minute range or else. Now you're talking about a different thing, especially if it's like the goal today is to get through this. Hey, Pat, I
Mhm.
know that this weight is a challenge for you. And I know that you've been doing sets of 3 traditionally when we do this workout. Today, I want you to take off like 4 or 5. So let's see if we can get there and see what happens. It's all about kind of how that framing boils down at the end of the day. And if that framing hinges on like, well, I have to hit this time and that's the only important thing. And if I'm outside of a certain percentage of that, I've failed somehow. Well, yeah, I think the coach has failed in that regard, frankly.
Mhm. Do you travel around and see way more gyms than I do?
Yeah.
And you talked a second ago, which I agree, of what should balance this out is that you're doing nice varied programming. Do you, no name dropping needed for gyms, but do you see that with your random drop-ins? Like, do you see workouts like the Filthy 50s or Fight Gone Bad, or some of
Yeah.
those like very, very lightweight, chipper kind of stuff? Or do you traditionally see like, we're going to hit some loading?
I've seen all over the place these days,
Oh,
to
good,
be
good.
honest, and I definitely have seen some classic style stuff. I don't have anything that jumps to mind in the last couple of drop-ins I did that
Okay.
that
But the
like
gut
fits that
feeling is
bill.
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yep.
good. Okay.
I think truly where I feel like a lot of kind of coaches struggle. Number one, it's the classic thing that is always going to be a case when you're coaching classes, but that's just making sure that in the warm up and the skill practice and all that, people are generally good about getting around and touching all their bases and actually coaching. But once 3, 2, 1, go happens for the intense part of the class, coaches get a little bit more hands off. And that to me, I mean, that's always going to be something that you're going to see and that you're going to wish people were more engaged with. It's like, hey, just because Pat's moving fast now doesn't mean that he gets to get away with sloppy movement. Like, and your job as the coach is way more to get in there and work that under intensity. That's an important aspect of it. So that's one. And then the second is, I think, kind of speaking to what we're describing today, is coaches not necessarily having a plan when they do have people that finish at different times within that
Hmm.
same session. So, if Pat finishes the workout at
You're gonna
minute
go into the
3,
red light therapy room.
well, exactly, yeah, yeah, and I'm still a couple minutes behind him. Okay, what does Pat do? What's the expectation there? And again, like all those kind of smaller things, even if it's not overtly part of the coach's plan, there's a cultural thing there. Like, is that person that's finished earlier, they just checked off doing their own thing in the corner of the gym now? Have they
Hmm.
cleaned up and they're not engaged with the rest of the group? Like, what's happening in those margins is important. And in my opinion, that's a reflection of the overall coaching experience and control that they have of that group. Um, so yeah, that's what I see kind of happen more frequently.
Agreed. Yeah. It's funny, because I give, people like them, so I give some goal times for every workout that
Yeah,
happens at
sure.
Lynchpin, but I really try to let people know that they are not, um yeah, I'll give two different goal times.
Yeah.
One I call the super fitness robot, which is you're just a savage. And
Yeah,
it's a carrot. It's a dangling carrot
sure.
because that motivates some people. And it's possible, it's not impossible, but like it's going to be rare, but it's possible. And then there's what I call the more likely time, which is
Yep.
exactly as it says. This is the more likely time. But I also let people know, even that more likely time, that's not this like rigid, unwavering perimeter. There's some wiggle room there,
Yeah.
for a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe if the more likely times, I expect this workout to take most people 15 minutes or less, and you come in at 17 minutes, that doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you did the workout wrong, and it doesn't mean that you should have scaled it. Like
Right.
you're close enough for government work,
Yep.
like and like saying, okay, I thought it was going to take most people 15 minutes or less and it took you 27. That's interesting. What did hang you up there? And here's the funny thing, something might have hung you up, or I might hear how you did it and still been like, actually, I'm totally good with 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Pull-ups are a big struggle for you, and you just let it take the time that it take, and that the clock continued to run because you needed to take big sets of rest. But you know what you are after this session? You're better at pull-ups because
Yeah.
you allowed
Sure.
yourself to do that. So hey, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I think that's the big one right there. It's just, people giving themselves the freedom to understand that like this word stimulus is not so specifically defined in each session that if you're outside of that, somehow the effort didn't count. That's crazy.
Mhm.
The the effort is still valid and there's no magic in that quote unquote stimulus. It's much broader than people think. And you apply that to anything else and I think it's pretty intuitive, like weightlifting. It's like those reps just maybe you come in and it's like we've all had those high gravity days where you put some weight on the bar and you're like, dude, it's just today is the day. It just feels like it's stapled to the earth.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that because that effort was on paper less than what you maybe your potential would reflect. That doesn't mean that that was wasted reps or that you should just have left and gone home that day. Like there's still
Right.
value to putting that work in, even on days that don't go your way. So I think in a lot of other contexts, people give themselves that grace, but for whatever reason, when you start blending modalities together and you start doing things for time, there becomes this expectation that it's like, well, now the strike range is just extremely
Mhm.
narrow, and you're like, "Nah, that's not true at all."
No. Yeah, agreed. It's a and goal times are good also for, just to cause stress in marriages. Because, like, for example, you know, I'll walk out of the garage, my wife maybe worked out in the morning, and I'll walk out of the garage with an effort that, like, I was really happy with. I'm really happy
Sure.
with how it went, kind of proud as a peacock. I walk in the kitchen, and she's like, "How'd it go?" And I was like, "Really good, took me 11 minutes." And she'll go, "Oh, what happened?" I'm like, "Oh, what happened? What are you
What do you
talking
mean?
about? Like, it was a
I
great now I feel
crushed it.
terrible."
Uh,
What do you mean what happened? I crushed it. That's what happened.
you feeling okay? What's going on?
Yeah, you okay? Are you just strained something? So,
That's good.
uh, so yeah, hopefully that helps everybody. And if people want to go back and check out that article that I mentioned, like I said, it's entitled "Benchmark Workouts," CrossFit Journal article, issue 13, September 2003, and some great old school photos in there of Greg Amundsen doing
Oh,
all the
nice.
movements.
Yeah. Oh,
Just,
wait,
just
one
a
more
beast.
one more story
Yeah,
to
yeah.
kinda catch up, and I'm not quite remembering the details, but, I also got to hang out a little bit with, Josh Everett, which was
No
great.
kidding.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just,
We got to get him on.
absolutely, like, talk about just a cool career in fitness throughout the years, and not only just on a personal level, like how fit he has remained over the years, but, like, what he's managed to do professionally and stuff like that too. Very cool. But anyway,
Inventor of the split snatch.
that's right, yeah, pretty much, he's both that old and, that innovative. But, I was talking to him and he was saying something about, like, he's been able to clean over 300 pounds for, like, 28 consecutive years or something like that. Yeah, and
Wow.
I mean, just thinking that through, I was blown away. And then the other thing we were joking about was like, "Man, you
That's
should."
incredible.
Yeah, I was stopped about that one as well. I had to think that one through quite a
I'd
bit,
like to do
but
it for 1 year.
right, yeah, yeah, that's what I told him. That's verbatim what I said to him too. That'd be great with once. But, at any rate, the other thing he was saying, we were joking around a little bit about, that old school video of him and Amundsen doing Fran. That
Mm.
was I don't know how many people remember that anymore. You could probably still go find it. That to me was one of the most powerful videos. I showed that to so many people, showed that to my wife, I showed that to my brother, you know, like my dad. I showed this to everybody and like nobody got it. They're like, I don't
Mm,
even know what I'm looking at.
right.
But anyway, I was saying, dude, you should see if you can recreate that time. Because Josh is getting on now a little bit. He's still fit as hell. But
Do you remember what he came in at
it was
roughly?
sub 3, I'm pretty sure.
Oh
Um,
my
but
goodness.
he was joking, and he said, "Hey, if I could use that same range of motion we were using back then," he's like, "I probably could match that
Maybe.
time."
Oh,
It was a little raw back in the day. The purists today just would be clutching their pearls at the the range of
s
motion that was common back then.
such a
So
good dude. Going to the Wayback Machine, I just within the last few days, I was doing some programming for Linchpin and my little squirrel brain was going. And I was like, you know what? Um, went down a rabbit hole with Heavy Fran. And then
yeah.
I found the Greg Edmonson video of him doing Heavy Fran at the old Santa Cruz gym. And I watched that like yesterday. It was so good. It's just it's old, raw. The music's old. Like everything about it was just so cool. He's just like in a set of board shorts, chalking up everything. And there's some great text across the screen where it says like, Greg Edmonson said he wanted to do Heavy Fran, and I said to him, "But we've already got a video of Dave Lays doing it." And Greg said, "Yeah, but it was so slow."
Oh, man, that's rough. That's
It's just so good. And I think Dave Lays was around 8 minutes, I want to say, and Edmondson was in low fives
wow,
or whatnot. Around, I mean, just
impressive.
beastly, dude. If anyone who's unfamiliar with it, 15, 12, 9 for the men, 135 pounds on the bar for a thruster, and then a 45-pound weighted pull up for a 15, 12, 9. That's
Yeah,
going to get it
brutal.
done.
Yep, brutal.
Yep. So, anyway, that's it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed a little chat for goal times. If curious to hear your thoughts, so find this show on the BTWB YouTube channel. Post your thoughts for goal times. Care, don't care, post them, don't post them. Let people go wildly over. Does it matter if you're in a gym or just in your garage? Ideas for future shows, leave those as comments as well. You can do that again under the YouTube video, or you can go to Very Not Random, the Instagram account, post a public comment, or you can send a direct message if you want to be more anonymous. All those things make their way back to us. And for Adrian Bosman, I'm Pat Sherwood, and we will see you next time.